welcome to Mr. Lee's Kitchen Lounge. I'm your host, Mr. Lee Hooks. Hi, and welcome to another fantastic episode of Mr. Lee's Kitchen Lounge. I'm Lee Hooks, your host, and today we're very honored to have guest chef Christina DIXON Wells with us today in her beautiful home, in her beautiful kitchen. She is going to present something today I think you're going to find out absolutely fabulous and delicious. So stick around and we'll get to it in just a couple of minutes. So Chef Christina, what are you going to prepare for us today?
So Mr. Hooks, I'm actually preparing one of my favorite dishes. It is a sea scallop and shrimp carbonara risotto. Now carbonara is typically a fettuccine dish, so it has bacon, onions, and peas. It's made with like an Alfredo sauce, and it typically goes over fettuccine pasta. But I'm a huge fan of risotto. And risotto in Italian is actually a pasta dish. So I love seafood, I love pasta, but instead of doing fettuccine, we're doing risotto today.
Tell us a little bit about how you got involved in the culinary arts.
So I got involved in culinary arts, funnily enough. My grandmother was probably not world-renowned in the sense of the world-renowned, but my grandmother was a world-renowned chef. She cooked and catered for the governor of Alabama and for several people in the Alabama area. And so learning as her knee child, I always had a love and obsession for cooking. However, when I grew up, I actually wanted to be an attorney. I didn't want to be a chef. I figured nobody's going to pay anybody to cook. And so because I wanted to be an attorney, a family friend of ours said to me, what is something that you love doing that if you never got paid a day in your life, you would still do and love doing? And I said, I absolutely love cooking. And so they said, you should consider culinary arts. And henceforth I did. And 18 years later, I absolutely love it. So
you know, it's really amazing because you don't look much older than 18 years.
I appreciate the compliment, Mr. Hood Learning. So what I'm doing here is I'm just cutting up some butter. So this will actually be in the base of making my risotto. So in the words of the kitchen, I'm doing my prep work right now. I was about to use a French term and I completely forgot the French term. So
well, I know that that size that you just cut is about the size of a stick of butter. Am I correct?
It is. So basically I'm going to use about a stick of butter, and I'll saute the onions that I'm going to dice up, and then I'm also going to saute the bacon in it. And the funny part is that bacon actually has grease in it. But risotto is a dish. So pasta, what makes pasta unique is that it cooks and it absorbs the flavors of whatever it's cooked in. So a lot of times people just use water to cook their pasta. But I always make sure that when I cook my pasta, I put water. In my water, I put salt and vinegar. So I look to make sure that I impart the flavor into it. Well, risotto being a dish that it takes on the flavor of everything that you put into it, seasons it. Everything. I have recently branched out on my own, Mr. Hooks, and it has been amazing to see just how God works. I'm a huge believer in God and the power of God. So I'm using 3 strips of bacon just in case anybody's actually charting this recipe to produce at home. So right now I've got half an onion, about a half a cup of Parmesan cheese, fresh grated, a stick of butter, a cup of peas, and 4 strips of bacon that I'm going to use here. And so a little bit about stepping out on my own, which was pretty interesting. I had a friend to reach out to me who needed some healthy meals prepared for them. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this dish today is very rich and very hearty and not at all on the side of healthy. Producing food that I believe can really heal us from the inside. I don't think that, and no knock to anyone in the medical industry, but I don't think we need a lot of the medicines that are on the market nowadays. If we look to take care of our bodies from what we put into our bodies, both in the healthy aspect of how we eat, how we live, and making sure that we just eat nutritious food and we live healthy. So I had a friend that reached out to me who was looking to lose some weight and wanted me to meal prep for them because they had a really busy life and they just couldn't keep up with the aspect of prepping their meals and making sure they had nutritious, healthy meals to eat on a daily basis. And so I said to them, I would love to, however, to make this cost effective, I really need for you to have at least a couple of friends or family members that'll be able to do this with you. So she said, well, how many people do you need to get started? And I said to her, if you can give me 5 people who would be interested finished it, then I'll go ahead and get started this week. She called back in 15 minutes, and she had 5 people that were interested in getting started. And from there, I wrote down recently this week, I've had over 50 customers that I've serviced in this past year. So I just truly thank God for it, and I'm excited to continue to see it grow in conjunction with catering and special events that I have the opportunity to do. So I'm just really grateful for that.
And what is the name?
So the name of the company is Mini Meals on Wheels. And basically the concept was mini meals, like small dishes. And since we deliver wherever, to office buildings, to people's homes, to senior family members. We deliver to whoever needs our services. So we're able to deliver, and I'm so excited for that. So these are Argentinian shrimp. They're what's called a 1620. So, and what that means, a lot of times you'll see, if you ever buy shrimp in a package in the store, you'll see things like 1620, 3130, 1620, but 1620, 3350. Whenever you see those numbers, what it means is the amount in the pound. So what it's saying is how many portions are in a pound. So in a 1620, you're getting 16 to 20 shrimp in a pound. And at 3130, you're getting 31 to 30 shrimp in a pound. But that also means the higher the number, the smaller the shrimp. The larger the number, the bigger the shrimp. So if you're getting a 1620 or a 510, you're getting colossal shrimp. And the cool thing I love about these shrimp is they literally taste like mini lobsters. They are absolutely delicious. So one thing you might notice is I keep changing my gloves as I'm working today, and that's pretty huge when you're in the kitchen, particularly when you're working with different products, because you want to make sure that you don't touch something that might be an allergen to somebody and then pass that on down the line. I've got flour here that I'm actually going to season with salt and pepper. I love to use when I'm working with seafood white pepper, and some people say, what is white pepper? What's the difference? Well, white pepper is a finer ground of black pepper, and it's actually more potent than black pepper, so you don't need as much of it as you do with black pepper, but the flavor that it provides is amazing. But in order to get a really nice sear on your scallops and have a nice brown crusting, if you've ever gone to any of your favorite restaurants and they've served scallops, the best way to do it is to lightly dust them in flour. So we're just gonna lightly dust them. I'm gonna take a tray and just set them off to the side here, so they'll just sit until we're ready to bake them. And scallops, like most seafood, actually don't take a very long time to cook. So you don't have to cook them very long at all. Because if you do, they become rubbery. So I tell people all the time when they say, oh, I don't like this type of seafood, or I don't care for that type of seafood, it's too tough. I say typically if it's too tough, that means that it was probably overcooked. So here's a low sodium chicken broth that we're gonna add to our risotto today. Typically I make my chicken stock from scratch, but didn't boil down any chickens from making any chicken soup recently, so didn't have any fresh chicken stock on hand. But what you can always use is, there's a company called Miner's Chicken Base, and it's literally a small package. You can put it inside of warm water, stir it up, and you have chicken stock that's ready to go. So right here we have about 2 cups of chicken stock that we're gonna use today. The first thing I'm gonna put in the pan is bacon, and you always wanna make sure you start out with a hot pan, because a warm pan allows for your product to cook quickly. It also helps it not to sit, and it helps it as it's cooking. So this bacon smells amazing. An applewood smoked bacon. So we're gonna add the butter just a little bit at a time. As you see, I haven't added all of the butter because I'm going to incorporate the butter as I make the dish. So right now I'm on high heat so this can cook down. I'm gonna add the onions in shortly. The peas will go in toward the very end. And you want to allow the butter and the mixture to deglaze the bottom of the pan so that it gets all of the good flavors in. The rice that we're using, like I said, is an arborio rice, but it's an Italian style. So if you go to any of your local groceries or restaurant supply stores, but groceries, you can find arborio rice to be able to make risotto dishes. So now we're adding our onions into the pan. We're gonna let them saute down. So unfortunately, in my cooking, I am not the best at measuring, but I measure by eye because I know and I have an idea of what I'm working with. But here I'm gonna use the top of the cap to measure the rice. And I'm gonna put in 2 capfuls, and these 2 capfuls come out to about a cup of rice. But someone could probably check me on that, but they typically come out to about a cup of rice. Now, as you see with the butter and the bacon from earlier, it's beginning to be absorbed into the rice. So we're gonna let it cook down, and we're going to allow it. So what you want the rice to do when you're cooking risotto is to turn translucent. And what translucent means is, if you see pretty close here, the rice will take on a clear look. And you have to, if you notice, I'm steady stirring because you want to keep the product from sticking. I'm going to get to a point in the dish where I'm going to actually put it on a lower heat and stop stirring. But in the very beginning, you want to make sure you keep stirring it so that it doesn't stick. So we're going to use some kosher sea salt and white pepper in our flavoring today. I'm a huge fan, and not everyone has to do this in organic and whole products, but when it comes to salt, I like sea salt or kosher salt. And many people ask me why. As most of us know, in the African American culture, we have problems with hypertension, diabetes, health issues. And sea salt and kosher salt actually are a little bit better when it comes to the salts, because iodized salt quickly goes into your bloodstream. So it causes your blood pressure to raise up. It causes health issues that we don't need to have. Sea salt, kosher salt, flavor food, but they take longer to absorb into our body. So they're a little bit healthier. Granted, no salt at all is the best thing, probably, but you gotta have flavor in it. So I'm slowly adding in the broth because I want to let that incorporate and allow it to cook in. And then I'm actually going to add another really cool ingredient, some Sauvignon Blanc, white wine. Not sure the company's label, not big on labels. I always tell people, find a wine that you'd be cool with drinking after you finish cooking and use it in cooking. Never, and I say never, ever, ever, ever use cooking wine, ever. It is mainly loaded with salt and it is absolutely detrimental for eating, in my opinion. Now, there may be people that will come for me for that one, but I will say cooking wine is just really a filler. It has not the flavor of the grapes. It's a manufactured product for people who didn't want alcohol. But when you actually cook with alcohol, the alcohol content actually cooks out. So if you're worried about the alcohol in the product, allow it to cook down, it'll cook out. You want the flavor and the essence. So we're gonna let this sit for a second. We're gonna come back to it in a minute. All right, so we're getting down to the final stages. Our risotto is almost ready. We're actually gonna cream it out. We've got some Parmesan cheese and some Asiago cheese that we're gonna add in here. So we're adding those to it. We're gonna cream it out. And then we're gonna get started on our shrimps here, and then we're gonna finish our scallops in another pan over here. So now we've got a hot skillet here. We're gonna use the remaining bit of our butter that we cut up earlier. Let that brown off in the pan a little bit. Always start with a hot pan, like I said earlier. It helps to allow your food to get a good sear, good cooking on it. So we're letting that butter just brown off just slightly, so it'll give us a nice nutty flavor to our shrimp. I'm gonna let it burn, and in we go. So we're gonna take our scallops, nicely dusted in, salt, pepper, flour, and we're just gonna place them right in the skillet. You hear that nice sizzle? Love to hear that sound. We're gonna leave them down for about a minute, minute and a half. Let them get a nice brown glaze on them, and then we're gonna turn them over. So as you can see here, our minute and a half has gone by. We've got some nice glazed, all beautifully coated. I mean, these are amazing looking scallops here. They're cooking amazing. They're browning on the other side. And we're just gonna take them out of the pan here and let them drip down on some paper here just to remove the grease from them. And then we have the rest of them that we're gonna just place in the pan here. And within a few minutes, we're gonna be ready to eat, you guys. So we have finished our dish. We've got our creamy risotto here, our sea scallops, our shrimp. So now we're in the process of plate up. Gotta make it nice and yummy. Always presentation is huge. You wanna make sure that everything looks beautiful. So we're gonna set these scallops off to the side of it. And as you see, like I said, I'm a huge fan of the tails. They make for such beautiful presentation. And there we go. our seared sea scallops with Argentinian shrimp, and our risotto carbonara, which has bacon, French peas, Parmesan, white wine, and chicken stock in it. And here we are, you guys.
Christina, this actually looks absolutely fabulous, and I know it smells great. And another great job. I've always admired your cooking, and I know it's going to be fantastic. But I'm going to try it right now.
Sounds good.
Risotto. Oh, man. Ah. You haven't lost it, young lady.
Oh, well, thank you.
You haven't lost it. I guarantee you. Folks, this is something that's absolutely fabulous. You got to try this dish at home, and I guarantee you will not be dissatisfied whatsoever. So, Christina, thank you so much for inviting us to your home and providing this absolutely fabulous dish. And until the next time, this is Lee Hooks, Mr. Lee's Kitchen Lounge, saying bon appetit and take care.
Cheers.